Hello, everybody. It is Lenny Murphy with another edition of our CEO series of interviews. Thank you for joining us. And today I am joined by my dear friend, Martin Filz, CEO of Pureprofile. Martin, welcome.
Look, Merry Christmas, Lenny. I think we can start to say that. So thank you for having me, and great to have this chat.
Yeah, well, especially because you're doing that whole Christmas in the summertime thing in Australia, which just seems so incredibly odd to me. You're going to the beach on Christmas Day, right?
We have a barbecue typically on Christmas Day in Australia, and there's a phrase which is throw another shrimp on the barbie. And so for me, I'm originally from London, Northern Hemisphere. I'm used to cold, dark, sometimes snowy Christmases. You start to get that little Christmassy feeling in about November. Darkness is coming, lights start to go up, you can see them. That for me was 30 years, 40 years of my life. And suddenly it's Christmas, and I forget that we're coming up to Christmas, apart from I get in calls with you and you've got Christmas lights everywhere. It's the oddest thing ever. But my kids, who are fully fledged Australians, for them, they would find the Northern Hemisphere one way.
Right. Wait, it's dark. It's dark so early. It's cold.
I know we're going to talk about things, but maybe this is part one, or we shouldn't digress. But my wife, when we were living in London, and you do a tradition, which you also do, which would be, you would go for a walk, and people would open their curtains and have their Christmas trees out front and pretty lights and stuff like that. And so on one Christmas day, it got to the late afternoon, you're full from the turkey and whatnot. And I said, come on, everybody, let's all go for a walk. And they looked at me horrified, like, what do you mean? We're going for a walk to look in people's windows. Because you can't do
the voyeur holiday.
But it's dark. It all looks spectacular, unlike in Australia, where it's not going to be dark till 10 p.m. or something. So you can't see lights anymore.
So it's kind of the segue. The first thing we start with is your origin story. Now we just heard about growing up in a traditional Northern Hemisphere Christmas, and now dealing with Southern Hemisphere. But tell the audience more about your background and you and what you do.
Yeah, cool. So I'll talk about market research first, data and insights first. So in about 1999, I first got involved with data and insights, and that was with a company, Red Sheriff. We did website measurement coupled with Qual. We were combining the two, so you saw something, quantified and then Qual. What did it mean? Deep dive. And that was my first entrance to market research. Prior to that, I've been really fortunate. I've been involved in a couple of software companies, which we've done trade sales with. We developed some cool school software that we'd sold to an accounting firm, and another one. And so I'd done that, and then I got involved with this little Australian startup, Red Sheriff, that we ended up selling to Nielsen in 2004. But when I joined it in 1999, it's like I discovered chocolate, which I said before. It was like, I was like, oh my God, hang on. This insight into what users are doing, everybody needs this. Yeah. I'd spent my career up to then, sort of 10, 15 years, and it's all about features and benefits. So understand the client's needs and then match all your long list of features to actually their needs, and so you've got a benefit at the end of it. So yes, they need that school software or accounting software or whatever else it was that we were selling. They needed that, but actually you're then sort of a little bit shoehorning in what you've got to them. Data and insights, well, this is madness. Why doesn't every single company in the world use data on their competitors, on their clients, on their future clients, etc.? And I was hook, line, and sinker sold. Just incredible world. Yeah. And so we sold 2004 Red Sheriff to Nielsen. Stayed around Nielsen for a while. I had some earn out or golden handcuffs, whatever. So stayed there for a while, and then I from there, little bit more of software, did a couple of odds and ends, a delisting of a public company in Australia, I'm still based out of London, delisting of a public company in Australia, and sold that to Schneider Electric. So that was quite good fun, and I was part of an executive team that went around sort of fixing up companies and then selling them or listing them. We also did a listing of a media company roll up where we bought end-to-end companies. That was good fun as well. And then my wife, by that stage, we were living in Amsterdam. She'd come over and she said, look, let's go and live in Australia for a bit. That'll be fun. And I'd always headed up Asia Pacific regions. EMEA regions. And so I was working for a company, said, look, I'll keep heading up EMEA. Why don't you let me head up APAC as well, which was the media company. So we went over 2008. We were publicly listed. It was all roll up. We'll buy something at 5 times, but we're trading at 8 times. So it made sense. And the world fell apart because obviously the GFC happened around the world, and I was in Australia. And so a friend of mine that I'd worked with the Red Sheriff, he was working for a little company called Research Now. So I'd said, I won't name the company, I said, oh, I'm interviewing for another company to be head of APAC for that company. He said, don't do that, you don't want to work for them. Let me speak to Chris Havman and let's get you over Research Now. So I joined Research Now 2008, spent a year or so heading up Asia Pacific, and then they said to me, Chris said to me, hey, you know what, we need you to head up EMEA for us and Asia Pacific, so can you come over, head up both? So I went over, and that was really good fun. And then we merged with eRewards, which was sort of weird reverse takeover because everything was called Research Now. So that was really good fun. So we did that. And then I got a tap on the shoulder from David Day. So Chris Havman, great guy. David Day, another great guy. And I got a tap on the shoulder from David Day, who was the CEO of Nielsen when we sold Red Sheriff, and he said, hey, Lightspeed, we're just about to buy GMI. You did the integration and everything for Red Sheriff, so can you come across and do GMI? It's going to be, we're doing some really cool, fun things. And so I did, and graciously Chris Research Now let me go. And so I went across, headed up EMEA, and then my wife, we'd had a couple of kids in London. My wife said, you know what, it's a bit cold and I can't appreciate the childhood that my children are having. I'm used to just putting on flip-flops or thongs and going for a walk, and wrapping them up. I want to go back. And it happened to tie in exactly with, there was an opportunity back at Lightspeed, head up APAC. So I came over, head up Lightspeed at APAC till 2018. And then what was interesting, APAC, Lightspeed, Cantor was then bought by Bain, and they were moving head office to Singapore. Yeah. And I didn't need to move to Singapore because I'm old enough and ugly enough not to have to make those choices, which I'd done in my career. I'd lived in various countries, moved around the world, and you get to a point where you go, do you know what, I don't necessarily need to do that. So I joined an AI company out of Indonesia, which I headed up, really early stage AI. It was a group who had come out of Microsoft and built a really clever AI engine, which analyzed huge telco sets of data for telco companies like Indosat in Indonesia, Celcom in Malaysia, etc., and across various in the Middle East, etc. So really cleverly, and it could also, guess what, see the patterns of what consumers were doing, and blah, blah, blah. So that was really exciting. That was my first entrance. I then spent, so I, in 1999 joined Research, Data and Insights, and then I got absorbed into this world of, oh my God, we're so important. Like everything we do is being used, and every decision in a company is based on our amazing representative sample of 1,000 people, and they're making multi-million-dollar decisions. And I suddenly got involved with these huge 100 million user data sets, for example, with Indosat in Indonesia. And I remember I said to a client one day who's buying data and using data, and I said, hey, you know, as I innocently said, what do you do about representativity? And the guy laughed at me. And the guy said, representativity? He said, I'm looking at a data set of 100 million people. Right. He said, I've got a third of the population or whatever. What do I care? Yes, I might do deep dives to understand more, but I can make directional decisions based on what I'm doing. And that was the sort of penny again started dropping. Whoa, okay, let's combine the two. How interesting is that to actually start working on these two data sets for clients? And then COVID hit. And so I'm sitting in Australia, COVID hit, I've got no teams in Australia, everybody from me is around the world, my head office is Indonesia, none of us are ever getting on an aeroplane again. And so I thought, oh, you know what, I should really do something in Australia. And so as we all know each other in the industry, you know, I've top profiles, Dynata now I've worked for, we all know each other. I contacted the chair of Pureprofile and said, hey, you don't have a CEO, let me have a look at the business. And Pureprofile was really interesting in that the founder, Paul Chan, had done an amazing job in creating a company, but his vision was, if I know the whole population of a country, because I panelized the whole population, I would then be a better media company because my planning and execution delivery will be better. So his vision was actually a media company underpinned by these huge panels across the world. And they'd floated in 2016. They'd made a couple of media acquisitions to move down that route. It hadn't worked out. They had a lot of debt. Those businesses weren't doing well. And so when I looked at it, I saw a core panel business that we all know and love that was in 5 countries, that was being used as a cash cow for these other ideas. And so I said to the board, okay, let's do a debt to equity swap because we're public to get rid of the debt. Let me shut down all of these media businesses and let's focus on data and insights, because that's actually what the world wants. And you're in 5 countries, but 80% of your revenue is Australia. It's upside down, like the world is for us. You actually, the US, 54% of our global D&I world, and it's about 40 times bigger than the Australian market, and the UK 13 times bigger. So I said, that's what we're going to go after. So joined them, shut some businesses down, called in loads of friends who said, come on, we're going to have some fun, come join me at Pureprofile. And I think 34 new people joined, which was a net gain of 1 person. So really that worked out so well. And 2 things happened. First thing happened was I opened the bonnet to then really get involved with the people. And I thought, God, who's still working for Pureprofile? Because they've been through such turmoil and stagnation for a few years. They can't be anybody. And there were at the time 80 odd, 90 odd people who were amazing, who cared passionately about the business, passionately about the clients, passionately about data and insights and respondents and everything. And they were sitting there going, we love this company, we love what we're doing. It doesn't matter if management's off doing something else. We're going to do our best. We're going to do brilliant. And so I responded, went, wow, these credible people. And so suddenly, because of that same group had all of that love and attention, that we'll grow bigger panels and we'll be truly global and our systems and processes will be global. They went, thank you, let's do it. Hallelujah, here we go, let's go. And I fast forward today, and 3/4 of my leadership team are original people from Pureprofile. The majority of our sales leaders around the world are still from Pureprofile old days. And today, Pureprofile, from then, we're public, so this is all public data. We're 215 people from 80 odd. We're physically in 14 countries now, from being physically in 5 countries. Our revenues have more than doubled. Our EBITDA has more than doubled. Our platform SaaS revenue has gone up tenfold. We're profitable. They were loss making before then, and now we're profitable, and we are having such a blast. And what I still love, and I did a big presentation about this the other day, our culture is everything we're about. We have 98% of people will recommend to work at Pureprofile. We have a 3% voluntary leaver rate, which is unheard of. Wow. We have 84% overall satisfaction, and I love the company, love the people, and we love the clients, and we're doing really, really cool stuff. There you go.
That's a hell of a story, Martin. And after all of our conversations, there were pieces that I Did not know. And actually, you and I get along and have similar perspectives on many things, but our stories are actually fairly parallel. I fell into the research industry by accident, like you in 2000, hooked, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so I totally get what you're talking about. And for the audience, I should add, Pureprofile is a special company. I was an advisor back with Paul in the early days, and have always just loved the company. There's something special about you guys, and you just helped encapsulate a lot of what all of that is in that great that great package. So, and hats off, congratulations for all the success. So
it's the team, and also it's on the shoulders of giants. It's on the shoulders of people like Chris Havman and David Day and Patrick Coomer, and for us, Paul Chan. It's on those shoulders that we can then take businesses and improve them or make them better or whatever it is. And so the culture that exists is because of Paul Chan, some of the core technology because of that vision. So we've just been able to globalize it, and we've been able to encompass it more clients. I mean, client base, we had 600 clients. We've got over 800 clients around the world. And, one of the things that I truly strongly believe in is, and we're public and we shareholders go, God, you go on so much about people. And yeah, it's absolutely duty of care, and it's people's mortgages and lives and future and careers and learnings and all that. But fundamentally, clients will buy from happy, engaged, proactive people. So if you've got a happy organization, a curious organization, if you've got people that are empowered, that are given freedom, that are given the right tools to do the right job, then the clients are naturally going to gravitate and work for them. You can't just try and do it the other way around, have a really poor culture and then wonder why you're not winning clients. I also love something Steve Jobs, I just saw recently, came up in one of my feeds, and I'll butcher it, but he basically said, why would you hire amazing people and then tell them what to do? God, I love that.
Right.
Why would you? Why do you hire amazing people and then tell them what to do? Hire amazing people and let them go.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So that's a good segue to the next question I want to make sure that we cover is, you have built an amazing platform with amazing people to do cool stuff. And we happen to live in an incredibly transformative era because of technology just unlocking more efficiencies and capabilities. So what are you excited about now? What's you've done all this great work. Now what? What's got you jazzed going forward?
Yeah. So first things, fundamentally, as I said, I love the company, and what I've been able to do, and I encourage all people to do, is everything in life's a learning, right? So you've had great bosses, and I've named a couple. I've also had some awful bosses, and I'm not going to name them on this call.
I think I know a couple of them. Or at least you come to mind, maybe based on your history. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you later. But so you learn from both, right? I learned from those amazing things of what did that person do to inspire me? What did that person do that made me so satisfied in that role that I had, and I learned so much, whatever. And also, what did I dislike in that role? So the first thing is, by being a true CEO, and another amazing person I'm so glad to have worked with in part of my life is Dan Fitzgerald of Apollo and Servo Globus, and him and I, again, what are great people like that? How do they instill individuals to do more? And so by being CEO, the first thing you can do is actually, without changing the culture and harming the organization, say, I want to build a company where everybody has the opportunity to have a good experience, from a team leader, from a CEO, executive member, or whatever. And so that's the first amazing thing at Pureprofile, to keep that going. And as I said, we've gone from 60, 70 odd people to 230 odd people. The importance is to keep that going. So that's exciting. I still find the core business exciting. We haven't at all cracked as I want to the US and the UK businesses. It's still really under indexing from where it can be as an organization. For us, 43% of our business is what we call rest of the world, and 57% is ANZ. It's still upside down. So I'm really excited. We just made some announcements and some really cool hires. We're going to blast out the UK, and we've got some cool stuff going on in the US. So that really excites me. And so that's fun. Also, as you said, all of the technology that's going on excites for a couple of reasons. It also scares the producers at me, but it excites for a couple of reasons. The first reason is we can finally do all of the internal automation that every company has ever wanted to do forever. Right. And so we are really automating everything through Pureprofile. We're really technology led anyway, but we are really automating the final bits of manual tasks. And I was on a call the other day, and I said to team members, hey, this isn't because I'm going to be replaced by an AI robot. It's not that at all. It's that this year will finish at about a $58 million business. And again, it's public, so I can say that without guidance. It's so weird. When we're a $120 million business, we're not 500 staff. Let's get to 120 million and let's just be 300 staff, and let's be focused on the data and focused on the clients and focused on being proactive and consultative, not doing a manual task. So that's the first thing I'm so excited about. Everything that's coming on with Gen AI, etc. We can automate internally the business. The second thing I'm really excited about is external tools and this marrying of qual and quant that we're seeing going on. With launching AI solutions to do that. We've got a roadmap of other stuff coming out. We just did a release. We've launched a dedicated product team headed up by a chief product officer, brilliant lady called Neve Fitzpatrick, who came from Facebook and has been with us for about 4 years. So now we can really innovate on the client perspective front as well. So that's really exciting. What I also love about AI, our CTO, John, ages ago, we were having a meeting and we were talking about AI, and John said, stop. I don't want anybody to talk about AI. We have problems to solve for clients, for ourselves, and we have opportunities. AI might be suitable or it may not be suitable. Yeah. Let's stop talking about AI. So we do that as a company. What I also love about what's happening though with AI and the advent that we've seen for every company in the world, it's made us become innovative. It's made us think more innovatively than we did before, because anything's possible. So all of those companies that maybe were using outdated technology or a manual process or a way of working, suddenly they're having innovation conversations in leadership teams. Oh, why don't we try this? Or I heard about this. And so the whole industry has been lifted up because we're all talking about this newfangled magic that's come out. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about we can finally get massive data sets, merge them with representative, smaller, high quality quant type data, and we can merge that transaction data as we do, or social media data or whatever, and can make sense of all that really quickly for clients. So that is phenomenally exciting. I'm really excited to learn more, to keep learning, to be curious. I'm excited for my teams to get more skills and keep learning and be curious. So there are lots of areas to your question. On the flip side of that, my gosh, wouldn't it be nice just to have had a couple of years of running a business for all of us, right? We all had 2008 and it was like the world was falling down. So come on, everybody, we've got to do something. And then really quite quickly, we then had COVID and the world suddenly changed. And it's come on, everybody, we've now got to focus on that. And then we just came out of COVID and okay, we've got some normality, and along comes AI and generative AI and everything. And it's like, okay, guys, here we go. Do you remember what we did?
I saw something the other day. It was a chart of basically Moore's law, right? That curve, but tied to actual, innovation, right? And yeah, it's all clustered up here, right? I mean, it's just slow slope, and there's a couple things here, and then all of a sudden, in the last, 10, 15 years. And with the assumption it's only going to keep going. So yeah. I hear you. And thank God, 'cause it keeps me in a job. Because that's my job, is to pay attention to all these things. And I can't keep up either. I asked me the other day, like, how do you keep up? Like, I don't. I miss stuff all the time. Comes up like, where the hell did that come from? I didn't see generative AI coming.
No.
But anyway, so I want to be conscious of your time as well as the listeners. So you have had this varied career. You've worked in different industries and have tackled different issues. What's the key lessons that you could pass on to others that are growing in their career? Advice, key lessons, distill your wisdom, Martin, bestow it upon others, please.
All right, a couple of things. From a business standpoint, don't buy something that's too expensive. Right, you can't get away from an expensive sale, and we've seen that in our industry, expensive purchase. So we've seen that in our industry where overinflated acquisitions have been made, and it fundamentally upsets the organisation. So don't do that. That's one massive lesson I've learned. Buy well. It's all the profit is all in the buying. Whatever you're buying, a house, a car, or a business. First thing. The second thing. From a business standpoint, don't pivot too much, right? We've seen, I think you've got a eye-wateringly scary chart, which is something like 2,000 or whatever it is AI companies have launched in our space in the last 2 years, whatever. 98% will fail because companies fail because of cash flow, etc. Do you know why the majority will actually fail? It's because they're trying to find a problem to solve. Mm-hmm. They built something going, oh, now let's look at a problem, right? We are established companies with Pureprofile, 24 years old. Everybody I work with, older companies, old companies as well. Just look at actually solving the same problem you solve today, but do it better, do it faster, do it with a higher quality, and try and do it cheaper. And then you'll delight your clients. So that's the other thing, is don't go, wow, I can now build this. Let's find a problem. Look at better, faster, cheaper, higher quality. That's from a business standpoint.
Yep.
From a personal standpoint, I think, look, I think there's from a career, and I get asked this a lot, I speak to every new joiner who joins Pureprofile within the first 6 weeks of them joining, towards the end of the 6 weeks. And I speak to them because, one, to welcome them, two, to ask them from their experience, have they seen we do something that's a bit wonky and we shouldn't do? How's their welcome been? How's their learning process been? And it's really funny, in some markets, it's the first time ever in their careers that they've spoken to a CEO, and many people think they're going to be fired because they've never spoken to a CEO before. But actually, it's about demystifying this. Like, we're all the same. I've got kids, I've got a dog I pick up after, I've got kids I pick up after. We all do the same thing, right? We're people that forget our titles. And so the first thing is, which I've always have, is have no ego, because there is no point. Don't go into a room and come out of a room believing you're the smartest person and acting like you're the smartest person. If I go into a room, I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm really frightened, because I tell you that room's not very clever. But the key thing is, even if I am, I don't walk out of it going, oh, I'm so clever. Just part your ego at the door, because it has no presence. It's going to stop you moving forward because you're full of importance. That is the first fundamental thing. The second thing I talk about is volunteer. Put your hand up for everything. Volunteer for everything. Ask, how can I progress? And you own your career. Your manager is busy. His manager, her manager, their manager is busy. Everybody is busy. You own your own career, so own it and ask, how can I forward it? What else can I do? Volunteer for tasks, etc. As my dad said to me when I went for my first job interview, it was my very first job interview, and as I was walking out the door, God, I can remember this all those years ago, he said to me, remember, son, when they say jump, all you ask is how high. That's gone, right? Remember that. I still to this day ask how high. I'm still that 20-something kid going for his first interview. So keep that humble nature, keep that fear, keep that wanting to please. The career is yours. And also, I think, and there's many others, I'm conscious of time, the other thing that I think keeps you going and really young and fresh, be curious about everything. Be curious about UFOs and about spiritualism and about parallel universes and about what's going politics and what's going on in the world and global warming and how where rain comes from and how trees grow and all of that, because by being curious, you will be a better person, but also you're going to be way more interesting because you will not have full knowledge that you will share. You're a curious person who will ask lots of questions. And an example is when Barbara leaves a party and the house sits down and goes, God, you know what? That Barbara was an amazing person. We love Barbara. And when Bill leaves the party and they sit down and go, I didn't like Bill very much. I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, Bill and Barbara have done 2 things. Bill has only talked about himself, which ironically we've done for a podcast. Barbara has only asked questions. Ask questions, be curious. It makes you more interesting. It helps your knowledge. It will further your career. You're going to have energy and you're going to be a better person for it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And the, yeah, you actually just made me have a moment of realization that I have probably gotten by on that curiosity more than anything else in my life. Right. So the, I would always just call it bullshit, right? My ability to be, but it is an honest desire to actually understand and engage, while it also coming across as, as bullshit. But boy, it's carried me a long way. So you validated that. Thank you, sir.
Lenny, you are one of the most, actually, this sounds really bad. You're one of the most curious people I know.
In all ways. He's a curious guy, isn't he?
But for this conversation, you are full of curiosity in that you share and that you ask questions and you want to deep dive and you want to know more. And we are blessed to have you in our industry that is driving us all. As there are other leaders we can talk about that are in other companies, but you are one of those people, Lenny, and that's what we need lots of.
Well, thank you, Martin. Speaking of bullshit, now the but I appreciate it very much. Where can people find you?
So people can find me, Martin at pureprofile.com. That's absolutely where they can find me. They can find me through LinkedIn. Martin Filz, Filz, has come up on this screen. I'm still doing stand-up amateur nights, so I don't have any professional bookings just yet. But please reach out, we have a chat, and if I can help anybody. And that's the other thing that you get later in your career. And the biggest buzzes, some of the biggest buzzes I've had, apart from companies doing well and people doing well within companies, it's actually that latter. It's the biggest buzz I get is somebody that's doing better, that progresses, that maybe leaves a company I'm working for or managing to actually be a CEO or move on their career. And the other thing is somebody that comes back and says, hey, do you remember when in 2003 we were in that meeting and you said XYZ? I'm like, no, I don't remember one. Well, I've based a big part of what I've done on that, and thank you, that changed the way I did. And I think anybody who is truly people focused will give time up to ask questions, to help, to whatever. And it might be teaching your grandmother to suck eggs and they already know it. But I also mentor a few young people around the world, actually. Nobody in Australia at the moment, so I mentor a few young people. And it's just, if there's one little thing that I can pass across that can make their lives a little bit make sense or a little bit better, then God, doesn't that mean we've achieved something?
It does. And yeah, that's doing good is its own reward, isn't it? It's somebody told me a long time ago that happiness is a byproduct of right living. And that means doing good, doing my best, right?
Yeah.
And all those things you were talking about, whatever it is I'm doing, I'm trying my best and doing well. And boy, it just makes everything more worthwhile. And I think that's just very evident in you, in your life, and it comes across. You're exuding that. So I appreciate it very much. You and I can go on for a really long time. You mentioned the buzz topics that I really want to talk about, but we're not going to do that with the audience right now. That's another time. So soon we will be able to talk about exo research. That will be a topic that we'll be able to talk about, but not today. So listeners, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Obviously, Martin and I chat, but we wouldn't have recorded this and gone down this path without thinking that it was going to be beneficial to you. So hopefully it has been. Let us know in the comments whether that is true or not. And this will sign off until the next episode of the CEO series. So thank you, Martin. Thank you, audience. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.